In another video, I talked about a what-if scenario where Luthen Rael is a Sith Lord or other dark side user of the Force. A viewer of my channel gave me the idea, and it was meant more as a hypothetical thought, not so much a theory. It kind of went against my own theory that Luthen Rael was a Jedi at one time or even knew a Jedi. But now, I'm more inclined to believe Richard Allen, the viewer who gave me the Sith idea. But before you go running away and screaming, let me explain why. So stick around until the end to see if you agree or if you have a compelling reason as to why this theory is wrong. But first, a really quick word from our sponsor, me. Hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and give the video a big stupid thumbs up. It really does help get my message across the Star Wars fandom. If you subscribe and like the video, it will give you a sense of happiness and euphoria, unlike anything you've experienced. It'll make your family love you more, and your water will turn to beer. Yeah, beer. And the type of beer you get is up to the will of the Force. If you get O'Doul suddenly shooting out of your shower, not my fault. If you don't subscribe and like, I'm sure your family will still like you just fine, and water will be good enough. But it's better to be safe and subscribe anyway. Now, let's get on with today's topic. I'm going to preface the following by saying, no, there does not have to be a Jedi or Sith in this show to make it great. We also don't need them in the Star Wars Andor series to relate this to other elements of Star Wars. This is a Star Wars show without those things, and it will continue to be a Star Wars series. If I'm wrong, I won't get upset. I won't curse Disney and Lucasfilm for subverting my expectations. I will enjoy whatever comes my way, because let's face it, the Andor series carries its own without all that. This theory is just that, a theory. And it doesn't necessarily even mean I want it to happen, just so you don't misunderstand my intentions with this. Although my thoughts of Luthen Rael's allegiance in the Star Wars Andor series have shifted from Jedi to Sith or dark side user, I have always held on to something being off about his character. From the moment we were introduced to Luthen, there was so much more to him than what we were being shown. For instance, doesn't his walking stick closely resemble a lightsaber hilt? What about all the Sith and Jedi artifacts he has in his shop? The Sith armor? What about the Temple Guard mask and the Jedi and Sith holocrons? I understand he's a collector of antiquities, and Sith and Jedi artifacts yield the highest credits. So, maybe his storefront cover-up is legit. As I watched closer to the Andor episodes with Luthen Rael, I noticed something else. He doesn't have the Sith Stalker armor in the front of the shop. I mean, wouldn't that fetch a high price if the right collector came into the shop? It's in the back of his shop, kind of hidden, albeit not very well hidden. Anyone could peek around the corner and see it, but in about every episode where Luthen Rael is in his shop, the armor is shown. Not quick glimpses either. But those things could all be coincidence, couldn't they? I mean, it's possible he just hasn't had a chance to prepare the Sith Stalker armor for sale yet. Possible, maybe even likely. But even when I try to rationalize everything he has in his shop, I'm still left with something, a feeling. There's something about his behavior that's catching my eye and my ears. And even the behavior of that of Luthen Rael's assistant, Clea. But I'll get into her more in just a bit. Let's stick with Luthen's behavior for a minute. In my What If video, I talked about how he seems emotional, but that isn't a trait that the Sith have cornered the market in. Plenty of people are emotional, but now with the release of Andor Episode 10, it's coming together for me, and it really comes together at the end of the episode when Lonnie Jung, the ISB agent / rebel informant, meets with him. Lonnie Jung tells Luthen of his sacrifices, his family. Then he asks Luthen, "What do you sacrifice?" To which Luthen replies, "Calm, kindness, kinship, love." Let's look at that first word, calm. It's understandable that starting a rebellion would cause a lot of turmoil within oneself, trying to put all the pieces together and getting frustrated when one fragment unravels. Kindness. He sacrificed kindness, meaning he is not kind. If you were starting a rebellion, would you tell your ISB informant that you're not kind? Would you not feel kindness to those you are supposedly trying to free from tyranny? Yes, a steadfast devotion to the cause and getting the pieces to all act accordingly in their proper places is a must. But there are innocent beings involved that want nothing to do with the war and are happy to just go about their daily lives. Or even those without the courage to fight for their freedom and are still fed up with it. He didn't say he is unkind to those around him. He said he sacrificed kindness, meaning it's gone. Okay, then he says kinship, meaning that everyone he interacts with is held at a distance, not letting them close enough to see the real LUTHEN RAEL. Sure, he could be saying that because he doesn't want to get attached to people he thinks may be gone at any moment. But how many of our own soldiers and sailors get attached to those they fight next to, or that fight under their command? Getting to know people and who they are and allowing them to get to know a little about you is how to give them something to fight for that isn't any selfish reason. Yet, you still have to send them to battle, hoping they carry on the next day. He then says love. Now he just comes off as cold, heartless. One of the basic needs of a human is love. It's one reason the Jedi Order fell. Then LUTHEN RAEL goes on to say that he's given up all chance at inner peace. You would think embarking on such a noble cause as ridding the galaxy of tyranny would give Luthen inner peace. You know it's the right thing to do, even if the road to get there is tough. You'd have peace knowing that what you were doing is the right thing, unless he let go of the inner peace when he made another choice that wasn't so noble. Say, turning to the dark side, perhaps. Something we all know causes inner turmoil, not because they think they made the wrong choice, but because they are kept in constant turmoil in order to stay connected to the dark side of the Force. Darth Vader never had inner peace as a Sith. Darth Maul even expressed that lack of peace on numerous occasions. But there's the next thing he says. LUTHEN RAEL goes on to say that he's made his mind a sunless space, meaning there is no light. There once was light, but now it's covered in darkness due to his own choice. I think that's pretty self-explanatory there. He shares his dreams with ghosts. Could that be Force ghosts? Or perhaps the ghosts of Sith Lords of the past? We know that Yoda encountered a vision of Darth Bane, which he could have seen as a ghost. If it was the ghosts of Sith Lords long gone, they could be unhappy with Emperor Palpatine or Darth Sidious. I guess it's possible. I'm going to stop there with his ending monologue, not because it doesn't pertain to this theory, it really does. He even mentions anger, something that gives a Darksider focus. But I'll let you go back and watch his monologue for yourself. Do it slowly with the subtitles on. It reveals so much. But yes, there is more. Look at how he's dressed. Nothing says someone is up to no good like a hooded cloak, and he wears it openly. Even in the character poster for LUTHEN RAEL, he has the hood up. Now, it doesn't look like typical Sith robes, but how careless would it be to have him wear standard robes right in front of our eyes? We would know right away. Instead, they went for a more subtle look. Just a hint. I said I would get back to LUTHEN RAEL's assistant, Clea, not to be confused with Leia. I'm not sure why people still think it's the famous Princess of Alderaan. Leia Organa would only be 15 years old at this time. But that's not what I want to talk about. Look at every scene Clea is in. Look at her expressions. As I've mentioned in the episode reviews of this show, the acting is phenomenal. You don't even have to hear the characters speak to know what they're thinking. And with Clea, there is nothing good going through her mind. If we go by her expressions, that is. Now, it could be just acting, but someone is directing her how to act, how to express herself, her motivations. Yes, she's devious. Acting as an assistant would not allow her to question her boss and even go behind his back the way she does. But a Sith apprentice would. We can sit and argue that Sith have this rule of two they abide by, but how many do we know that follow rules? Especially when there is no one around to monitor those rules. Who will stop them from having more than two? It's their code that prevents it. Well, okay. How was Darth Maul the apprentice to Darth Sidious when Darth Sidious was an apprentice to Plagueis at the same time? What about when Count Dooku / Darth Tyrannus was training Savage Opress as a Sith? It's even in Wikipedia that Savage Opress was a formidable Sith warrior. What about when Maul took Savage under his wing to train him as a Sith? Maul wasn't even affiliated with other Sith at the time, so it isn't unlikely that Luthen Rael and Clea could be an offshoot Sith master and apprentice. By the way, Clea sounds a lot like Traya, Darth Traya. Probably a coincidence as they're about 3,900 years apart, but maybe it's one of those Easter egg things everyone talks about. Don't hold me to that though. Look, the world of the Sith is full of shady characters. The rule of two was not strictly adhered to, probably ever. And think of the irony. A Sith, Darth Sidious, starts the Clone Wars and operates both sides for his own power, using everyone involved as pawns, including the wise Jedi, to gain that power. Then comes another Sith to start another war to gain power for himself from Darth Sidious, using everyone involved as pawns, including a new Jedi Knight. Just a thought. Like I said before, it's just a theory, and if it doesn't work out, then so be it. It was fun thinking about it. How many people still subscribe to the Darth Jar Jar theory? It never happened either. By the way, if you didn't know, the Aftermath novels go into the fate of Jar Jar Binks. He became a street performer called the Clown, until he eventually ran off with an orphan. So, yeah, the Darth Jar Jar theory never worked out, but it's still fun to think about. But what do you think? Could Luthen Rael of the Andor series be a Sith or some other dark side entity? Let me know in the comments below and we can discuss it. And before I go, just another really quick word from our sponsor, me.
If you're new here or just haven't committed yet, hit that subscribe button, give the video a big-ass thumbs up. Doing so helps my channel more than you know, and it'll give you a sense of calm and happiness unlike anything you've experienced in the Star Wars fandom. Warning, subscribing to this channel will not make your family love you more. Unless you experience that happiness mentioned, then your family will see a change in you and be more willing to let you collect Star Wars stuff. Subscribing will also not turn your water to beer, unless somehow this channel is the key ingredient to making your personal beer in your personal microbrewery. But maybe it will help due to the happiness factor. But just in case, subscribe anyway.
This is Gerald, a Star Wars fanatic, signing off, wishing you all great health, happiness, and peace. Thank you all for watching, and remember, this is the way, the only way.